Parashat Emor, right? Emor. The parashat deals with the aspects of keuna of the priest, the kohanim, and the purity of the kohanim, how they need to keep themselves, and so on and so forth. Our parasha is called Parashat Emor. Emor means to say. Amira is to say, and through that you can really see, through this parasha or throughout the parasha, you really could see the unbelievable power of pure words when you speak pure words. I have a feeling we're gonna go like zigzags today, but I just want to tell you something. The older I get, the better. No, the older I get, the more I have to say, because I learn. I love to learn about everything. But the older I get, I realize that the less I say, the better it is. And many times we just talk, and that's a topic for a different discussion. But we just talk, and I just want to challenge you to that. I think that if we want to purify ourselves and to live more pure life, try for a day, no more, one day. Try to speak only when there is a need to speak. Not just to talk. You have nothing to do, you just start talking. You're not a bird. Try it. Only when there's a necessity to speak. Until then, concentrate on what is it that you're doing. And believe that I'll talk about this also tomorrow. But try to look at that. You'll see it. People will tell you, what's the matter? You're not feeling good today? And if you have something good to say, say it. If you have something bad to say, don't say it. Whatever it is, on whoever it is, whether it's this president or the previous president, it's about whatever. I just got so many ideas of things to talk about. But let's go back into it. So just try it for one day. Only when you need it, only then speak. It's very powerful. Anyway, the Torah talks about it, that the Kohanim are those who needs to bring the chayut, the livelihood of purity to Klal Yisrael. They are, in a way, like the living example of purity, how a person should live. That's why, and which is interesting, because that's what we're learning today in the Gemara. That's why a Bat Kohen, the story of a Bat Kohen, her punishment, if she does what she's an Arusa, is much greater because she's a daughter of a Kohen. So the Kohanim should be a living example of purity and rightfulness of how to do things right to all of us, to all Am Yisrael. We, in return, Am Yisrael, also have to be an example like this to the rest of the people. But the Kohanim are the example of examples. And through that purity, we get livelihood. Impurity usually symbolizes death or a death process. So if you are pure, you're alive, right? So therefore the Kohanim are warned not to become impure. And how do we become impure? We do certain things, we go to certain places, cemeteries and so on, so we become impure, to watch our acts and even talking. The Kohanim needs to watch the way they talk, even more so than everybody else. So if you look in a way, the whole parasha talks about tahara and tumah and tahara, purity and impurity, but it really all revolves around speech, somehow. And at the end, of course, we have the story of the Mekalel, the guy who curses with his action, and you see how everything is really connected. Cursing or talking badly is the negative aspect of speaking. Everything in the world, the universe, has to have two polars to it, negative and positive. Speaking in a wrong way is taking that ability of speech, which is purity, and you're making it impure. You have a child, you yell at him, you insult him, you make him feel bad. You're taking this power and you basically, quote unquote, killing a certain part in him. I was working yesterday in a garden, just cutting the grass a little bit, And I heard this this kid crying, and he was walking with his mommy, and he was telling his mommy, "Mama, perché, de why, why?" I was just like, my heart was coming out for this. I felt like saying to her, "Listen, ma'am, why? Don't make him sad. Explain to him, be more gentile. You don't know how long you're going to have here. You don't know how long your kid is going to be around you. It's chaval all this time. To see a kid crying is right? And yet you see some animals sometimes, how they beat up their kids and they scream and yell at the kids. I'm embarrassed sometimes as a human being to see it like that, So you got to be very careful and to understand why you shouldn't talk bad. You shouldn't. I'm not just talking about lashon hara. In general, to hurt people, sarcasm is very bad. Sarcasm is bad. Stabbing all the time. It's very bad. Anyway, also we're talking about the chagim and so on, the holidays, and the Jewish holidays, and everything is done through the dibur and so on and so forth. So let's 1 second talk about the mekalel, the guy who curses, which comes at the end of the parasha. Hey, our Thursday star. As we said, the person who curses is the negative aspect of speech, and whoever doesn't walk in the pure path of speech gets punished for that. Why? Because by doing so, every time you do an act of impurity, you are drifting away from the root of your neshama. We live in two aspects. We have a spiritual aspect and we have the physical aspect. And the more you curse, or you talk badly, the more you're removed from your shorish neshama. And when you're removed from shorish neshama, you become impure. So that is very difficult. And that distance that you put between yourself, and your shorish neshama is a tremendous punishment, because your life it's not going to be life. It's a very miserable life to live to live away from your own true spirit, from your own soul, the root of your soul that is coming further from that. And of course, it talks about Sfirat HaOmer, and it's talking to us about the Omer that we have to, that we count and we talk and we lashon hara and blah 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 and all the other aspects that we have in our life that in a way shows us our own responsibility towards ourselves and towards our life and towards the world that we live on, when it all depends on how we interact with each other and how we speak to each other. To understand that everybody, any one of us is not exempt from hard labor, from hard work on your spiritual aspect. You can tell me, okay, Rabbi, I'm not a spiritual person. I'm not talking about this kind of spirituality. I'm not talking about a new age or going to an ashram. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about crystals. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about internal work on making yourself better. So don't tell me you're not spiritual. When you tell me you're not spiritual, it means to me that you're not willing to work on yourself to become better. I don't believe that any of you doesn't want to become better. You all want to become better. And we all are obligated to work hard on our ruchniut to do so. And by working on that, we're going to actually reach our purpose of what we came to this world, each one to his own purpose. If you live life without purpose, I don't know, what's the point of that? If you haven't found what your purpose in life is, how can you live your life? How can you stand yourself? Okay? And, the Zohar talks about it, a lot about those things, and so on and so forth. And of course, even more so now, right before Shavuot, we're counting the Omer. Every day could become another day in purification to clean our vessel, our kli, to reach the time of Chag HaShavuot, Chag Matan Torah, as appropriate as we can to receive the great light. In order for the light to shine and to spark further out, we need to clean the vessel from inside. If you have the best wine, I don't know, those wines that cost $30,000, expensive wine. Who would drink this kind of wine? But never mind. Let's say are you going to put it in a dirty jug or a dirty decanter? No, you got to make sure it's clean and blah blah blah. And so to see your neshama is more precious than any wine. The Torah is more precious than any wine. So not only you have to do this maintenance every day to make sure you're okay, but you need to sometimes bring it to a 10,000-mile service. You got to check the plugs and change the wires, and we don't have carburetors, but anybody knows what a carburetor is? You guys don't know what a carburetor is? Probably don't know what a record player is either, right? They don't know anything about good in life. Anyway, so therefore our Kohanim are called to become, are considered to become holy. And the Kehuna, becoming a Kohen, always is associated with being holy. Even when HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls us, Vaitim li goy kadoshu mamlechet Kohanim, and you're going to be a holy nation, a kingdom of priests, you see that the word Kehuna, Kohen, always corresponds with holiness. Especially you, Kohanim, have to be super careful in what you do and what you expose yourself. Super careful. The Kohanim at the time of Bet HaMikdash used to be the ones who used to teach and so on and so forth. You need to be the example. You need to do that. You need to understand it. You're doing a great sin to yourself and to us by not really perfecting yourself and striving to perfect your actions and your own self to become a better person. To sit down 1 second with yourself. Let's say argument's sake. Let's say you have a bad temper, or you have whatever other midah, or you curse easily and so on and so forth. Just sit yourself 1 second and say, is this really what should I be doing? Is this a good way for me to go? I mean, if I had a friend that was such a foul mouth, would I bring him home? So how do I bring myself to my home? Why am I so short-tempered? Why I'm so, I don't know, I'm using that because it's a very easy example. Why am I like this? Maybe I should do some biofeedback, most likely it's because you don't really observe yourself, because most likely you don't really appreciate your life. You don't appreciate your life. I'm not quite sure that you really, if it was up to you, would be willing to live. I'm telling you that. If you, for example, one day will drive, let me ask you this, I'll tell you this. What would you rather do? Drive in even though I hate them, in a Mercedes, I don't know, what is there? 550?
That's 550.
It's a what?
That's 550.
What?
That's 550.
S550. On the LIE? Or riding a Harley in the desert. You know what? The Mercedes with the AC, right? Right, that's what you want. Harley. The wind. The freedom. The cleanness. Everybody wants that. And you got to think to yourself, what is it that I really want? Why am I like this? Sitting inside a car is like a cage. It's disconnected from everything around me. When I'm driving with a motorcycle, and I'm using especially a motorcycle, I'm one with the motorcycle. I'm one with the road. I feel the road, feel the wind. Of course, the leather jacket looks good. And the nice boots. Let's stop here. Anyway, so but you know what you want. You know that this is really what you want. That's life. I like to feel like this. Why do you have to live life so embraced in cages of products and so on and so forth, going basically nowhere with your life? Nowhere. You're sitting sometimes in traffic for hours. So as a Kohanim, we need to do so. So we might have thought that, and certain religions do that, certain societies do that connecting ourselves to death is what gives us power. Watching people dying, and so on and so forth. This should give me, an elevation to go to the Kedusha, to work, to become more holy. I see people in death, I realize that this is what it's all about, and so on and so forth. I might have thought that this is really what it is. But the Torah tells us something very clear, very straightforward. The Torah tells us the following: Kedusha, holiness, means life. Kedusha means life. It is quite easy to understand, but it's very difficult for us to perform. Why? Because, I'll give you an example. When the sons of Aharon died, right? It's a very, very difficult thing. This is, I think, a very good example of how difficult it is. The human instinct, or the fatherly instinct, especially in the case of Aharon, was to come closer to death, to embrace death. Right? To rip his clothes, to pull his hair, to scream and yell, and so on and so forth, to go to the funeral, to make the funeral. Some people make a funeral like a whole big event. It's like a parade, and so on. To mourn, comes the Torah and tells us, no, you need to stay away from this. You need to run away from this. That's what it tells Aaron, right? And as Tehillim says to us, in Tehillim it says, Hashamayim shamayim le'Hashem, va'aretz natan livnei adam. Heaven is for God, right? He gives land to the men. Lo hametim yehaluya ve'lo kol yordei duma. Not those who even went down to the other world. Yordei duma is the other world. Va'anachnu, and we, Nehaleliyah me'ata ve'ad olam. Hallelujah. And we're going to Nevarechia. We're going to praise Hashem. Praise the Lord. Now, we, and the word is Achshav, now. Me'ata ve'ad olam. From this point on, from now. Me'ata. Or it says, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Emor el HaKohanim bnei Aaron ve'amarta elehem. Say to them, and you should tell them, Lanefesh lo yetameh be'amav. You cannot make yourself impure to anybody. You can't go to funerals, you can't go to anybody. Why? Ki im le'she'ero ha'karov elav, only to his close relatives. Le'imo, le'aviv, le'bito, and the seven relatives, u'le'achoto ha'betula, and so on and so forth. Lo yetameh ba'al be'amav le'achelo, lo yikrechu karacha berosham, u'pe'ad zkanam lo yigalechu. Why? Uvsaram lo yitnu saretet, don't scrap, right? Kedoshim yiyu le'eloheim, ve'lo yechalalu shem Eloheim. They should stay holy. But the key is, in them not staying holy, they're causing Chilul Hashem. He wants to mourn. And the Torah says no. Let's say you had a dear friend, or Rebbe, or somebody, or neighbor. You can't. You're Kohen, you're different. And why is that? And why is that? Ki et ishe Hashem lechem Eloheim em makrivim vayu kodesh. They bring in Korban Hashem and they should be holy. When we're talking about boundaries, we're talking about boundaries of man. Boundaries of man is the earth, the universe. This earth, right? And where the dead people are in the other world, right? And there's nothing what to expect for them. There's no way for you to try to reach out to them, to try to connect to them, to do seance and all kind of things like this. This is, you need to stay away from this. Not that it doesn't work. We see by the oath that some of the things work, but you have to stay from it. We have to stay from it. And all those magical things, the Torah despises them and warns us. Don't go there. Don't go there. Why? And by the way, we're not allowed to go for them, to ask for them to pray for us. Of course, we're not allowed to go and pray to them. We don't go to the graves and throw little kvittles, little notes on the grave. It says, please, oh tzaddik who is buried there in this place, under 6 foot of dirt and 3 feet of cement, please, bring this note to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're doing so, my dear friend. You are an idol worshiper. Not only a fool, but an idol worshiper. You can't do that. Asur, because you're not Kadosh. You can't even reach to the dead people and try to get information from them. You can't. The only thing you're allowed to do is if a person is allowed to die, you're allowed to make him swear to you that when he goes up there, he can come to you in a dream and tell you. But you can't do anything, any other manipulation to bring the dead person to tell you, please give me the 6 numbers of the lottery. I want to win the Powerball or one of those things. You can't do that. Or even good things when Mashiach is coming, nothing. You can't ask them to do that. In other words, once you put the dead person in the ground, that's it. It's over for you. It's over for him as well. But it's over for you. That's it. It's done. You like the person so much, well, read his books, but you can't communicate with him anymore. You should not be dealing with this, not with him and not with his image and not with his, anything else like that. Judaism was always like this. That, of course, is the hint why we did not establish a monument over Aharon's grave or Moshe Rabbeinu or anybody like this. Stay away from it. Stay away from it. And even though it's not understood to you, but these operational instructions are really a key to keep yourself in holiness. And the more you do that, the less holy you will be. The less holy you will be, the greater Chilul Hashem is to you, that you are causing. The greater damage you do in the world. You don't go to the Ohel, and you don't go to Uman. You don't go anywhere. You want to go somewhere? You want to connect to the tzaddik? Let me ask you first of all, why do you want to connect to the tzaddik? Why won't you connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It's not good enough for you. And if you so care about the thing, sit down, learn his words. If he's such a tzaddik, follow his path, but leave him alone. That's what the Torah tells us. So all this common denominator for all these prohibitions in which the Torah tells us is to warn us from our willingness to really break our boundaries that we were given. Hashamayim, shamayim leHashem, haaretz natan lebnei adam, lo hametim yalu l'yav v'lo yoreduah. You're not an angel, and you're not in the dead. You're finished. You're living here and now. We thought that mindfulness is only a Buddhist concept. I'm going to tell you this. Mindfulness is a Jewish concept. The here and the now. You don't think about the past. You don't worry about the future. Ve'ata va'anachnu nevarechya me'ata ve'ad olam. From now on. The now. Mindfulness. It's a Jewish concept. Right, Yossi, you like that one, huh? It's a curveball. Anyway. And you should know also that one of the things that Torah tells us not to know is not to become a fortune teller or a fortune cookie, to that matter. Not to know what will happen and what you don't know. That you should accept the fact that there are things that you don't know and there are things that you would never know. You don't need to know everything. Even with what you know, you don't seem to do such a great job. So what do you need to know more stuff? So it's okay. So therefore we're not magical and so on and so forth. The Rambam tells us that it's all achizat enayim. It's all an illusion. It's like a quick hand job, that they do over there. The guy shows you a small movement hides a big one. A big movement hides a small one. Whatever it is, they do in quick hands. When they do this, it's all a trick. There's no truth to it whatsoever. The Rambam says it's all fake. So if somebody tells you, I can connect with spirits, tell them, I have a cousin who smokes LSD also. He'll do it for me for half a price. We don't need that. And when it says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe, Ve'emor el HaKohanim, and so on and so forth, Bnei Aaron v'amarta lehem lenefesh lo yitameh be'arav, right? There's a mashal, there's a parallel to a king who is looking for a cook, a new cook. You know, it's funny. Let me tell you, those guys. You heard about Obama, what he said? He said, you know, he gave a speech in Milan for $3 million, slept in a castle that's $20,000 a night, and so on and so forth, and was saying how much the meat industry actually is not good for the environment, and blah blah blah. And then his chef in the White House says to him, "I made them thousands of steaks, and he ate it. He didn't seem to have a problem with it." Anyway, so a kid like this was looking for a new cook, right? To make a new cook for him, to make him his meals. So finally he found this master chef. You know, he did not have Gordon Ramsay because he's a little too much of a foul mouth. But you know, he found this master chef over there. And then the king ordered him. He says, listen, whatever you do, don't come near dead people. Nothing. So the chef says, perché? Why? Perché is Italian, yes? De che? Lama. Why? So the king says, because you are in my palace all the time, and you're serving me all the time, you coming and go as you wish, and therefore you always have to stay pure all the time. The Kohanim, the priests, which serves in the Kodesh, are the same thing. Not that they are chefs, but they're always busy with serving Hashem. And they don't know when they might need to get a call, so they get to be ready. In a way, it's like a spiritual Delta Force. You know, any of those Navy SEALs, Delta Force, they always have like few bags. You know, depends on where they're going, they're ready. They just grab the bag and they go. They're always ready. That's why somebody like this, you're never going to find him drunk. He's going to drink maybe 1 beer, 2 beers, no more than that, because he might get 20 minutes call and he's out there, you know, flying to the other side of the world. You can't be drunk. You can't come to an operation with a hangover. No. So a Kohen like this as well. A Kohanim are serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They need to be pure all the time. You know, all the time. And the Torah, with our Torah, we call it Torat Chaim, right? A Torah is always Torat Chaim. We call it Etz Chaim, is a tree of life, always has to do with life. The Torah's commandment is always to stick to the positive, stick to the negative. And I'm going to tell you the following. It's not natural for us to stay in the positive, even though it's all implanted into us, because what neuropsychologists call it the flight or fight thing. You know, we are naturally defective. What do I mean? Naturally, we are negative people. Why naturally we are negative people? Because for survival. That's why, you know, everybody taps into that, and you know, they make a business out of it. Everything in the world is all about negative. Whether it's building the wall in China or building the wall in Mexico. Everything is about scaring the people. And whoever does a better job scaring the people gets elected. All promises turning for free. Right? That's the way it is. So our Torah is called Torat Chaim, it's called the way of life, which is not natural. We need to become above nature, to stick to life, to have, and how we do that? By having emunah. We develop our faith in God. When you have faith in God, you don't have to worry. Okay, so maybe there's a tiger in the bushes. Okay, so the tiger, Hashem will help me. Vayakeh otam Hashem basanverim. That's it, okay. We have emunah. We stick to the positive. We stick to life. That's why it's called Torat Chaim. So if it's called Torat Chaim, therefore it's eternal, because life is the power, the force of life in the world. So also today, the Kohanim must keep those laws of Tahara, even though we don't have Bet HaMikdash, unfortunately, yet. But they still are commended to that. Why? I mean, of course, listen, we're so careful with it, we're so aware with that we deal with issues. If a Kohen, I mean, if you ask the rabbi, can a Kohen fly over a cemetery? What are you talking about? What do you ate some mushrooms over there? What's a Kohen fly? But today, you know, we deal with a Kohen goes in the back. There's a halachic discussion. Can he fly if there is a dead body in the plane, or he's flying over a cemetery? What can he do? Oh, a million different questions. You know, if a Kohen, let's say, somebody, chas v'shalom, his finger got cut, right? And he is a Kohen, or a Kohen is the guy with the EMT. Can he go in the ambulance, because now it's considered to be a dead object until they glue it back together with super glue, whatever they do over there? So we always deal with those things like that. This is how important those issues of Tahara are to us. But of course, it's not only for Kohanim. Those halachot are not only for Kohanim. The Kohanim are the Yotzei Min HaKlal, the exception. However, it comes to teach us something us as well, each and every one of us. And so therefore, what is the tum'ah, what is the impurity that the Torah warns us, and how does it have to do with our avodah, with our work to Hashem? Baal HaSulam, Rav Ashlag, wrote something, it's called Ma'amar HaAravot. He wrote something very interesting, and he says, "V'atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'gol kadosh," and you're going to be a holy nation, a nation of priests and a holy nation. He says, in those words, the whole aspect, the whole shape of avodah, of Torah and mitzvot, the whole work we're doing the Torah and mitzvot, that all of us, from an old man to a young child, all of us we need to have the attitude of a Kohen, of a priest. We need to have this attitude of a priest. In other words, as much as the Kohanim don't have a chelek v'nachala, they don't have an inheritance, they don't own a piece of land in Israel. Why? Ki Hashem hu nachlatam. Hashem is their inheritance. Hashem is their territory. And then they don't have any kind of material possession, kinyan gashmi, they can acquire. What's more earthy than the earth itself? What's more physical than owning a piece of land, earth, dirt? So as much as the Kohanim don't have something like this, because Hashem is the Nachala, so is the whole entire nation should apply this to themselves. And anything else that we need to do, the nation needs to do, has to do in maintaining, mekayem, to do mitzvot Hashem, and whatever we need to do for our livelihood. That's why the Kohanim got Truma and Ma'asot and so on and so forth, so they could live. But their focal point was to serve Hashem. And our point is also to serve Hashem. And I ask you a question. If you were your boss and you had a worker like you, and if you need to evaluate the quality of your work, at the end of the year you get an evaluation, are you going to give yourself outstanding or needs improvement? Are you going to keep somebody like you hired, or are you going to fire them? You're fired. It's huge, I'm telling you. Huh? What are you going to do? How are you going to grade your performance? You are here to serve Hashem. You're going to be asked about the quality of your work. And you would need to give self-reflection on that. How are you going to grade yourself? You keep yourself holy? Did you dedicate yourself to your work? Were you loyal to your work? Did you care about your work? Were you proud of your company? I think as Jews, we have to learn a lot, believe me, of how to do things from the Japanese. Tell you that. How do we do our work? We don't care. We don't care. Just want to do it, get finished with it. That's it. You're doing a favor. If you had a worker that was doing you a favor to come to work, what would you tell him? What would you tell him something? What would you tell him? You.
Fire him.
Well, you fire him? You will fire a worker like this? Do you a favor to come to work? Let's say you have a setter, right? You're giving him to set a diamond. Say, listen, buddy, I need it in a rush. It's a big sale. I don't know if I'll get to it today. So what are you going to tell him, a setter like this? Say, maybe I'll go somewhere else. Well, you're doing me a favor. I'm paying you. We're doing HaKadosh Baruch Hu a favor. And that's something we need to think about. we do what we do, you don't have to worry about where I'm going to get this, where I'm going to get this. Hashem will give you. Hashem will give you. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a package from Amazon, stacked like this with $100 bills. But Hashem will make things easier for you because everything works b'derech hateva. So, for example, let's say you are doing short sales, right? So, since you do what you need to do, and you're geared towards your learning, and you're geared towards serving Hashem, and you understand that this is just an opportunity for you. So, when somebody sells maybe one house a year, you're going to be selling one house a week. She's going to make it easier for you. But don't get greedy. Don't become tameh. Oh, I'm doing so well. Let me sell more. No. Hashem is helping you. You buffoon. Hashem is helping you. Why are you selling so much? So you can sit down and learn. How much more do you need? Let's say you sell one house a month. And you made, $10,000. Oh, what's wrong with this? So sit now and learn. What's your problem? B'chazar, you want more. You become tameh, impure. One of the problems of the diamond business, besides many other things, is that in the diamond business, 4 o'clock they were out. 4 o'clock they were out. I saw those people who made a lot of money in the diamond business. 4 o'clock they were out. No overtime. Not tomorrow. Friday, 1:30, close shop. Everybody was making the 1:35. They used to get off in Kew Gardens. I remember seeing them. The 1:35, the express to Huntington. That was the Jewish train. Today, everybody stays. Why? I want more. You want more? Guess what? You're going to make it a little bit. You're going to make it a little bit. But then you're going to fall. You're going to make nothing. That's the way it is, Rabotai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals himself through Derech HaTeva. And therefore, we need to understand that the Ratzon of the Teva, right? That's what happens in the Teva, right? The nature has its own rules. So therefore you see that if we are helping other people and or the Kohen gives an example to us and we as a kingdom of priests give example to other people, therefore we call it, how do you call it, what's the equivalent in a Hasidic yeshiva for a mashgiach? How do they call it? A mashpia. He influences. So Kohen, and in return us, have the ability to influence other people by giving an example. We give an example, we influence people. Now, the Tikkun HaKlali, not Rav Nachman, not this, not Tikkun Klali Hazeh. The Tikkun HaKlali of people is to reverse the urge to receive and to make it the urge to give. If you are in a state that you feel that you want to give more than you want to receive, you are probably on the right track. And most likely your marriage is going to be good, and so on and so forth. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be quite happy with you. Because that's what we need to fix. We always want to receive, but we never want to give. And this is to take this will and to reverse it. So therefore you need to create opportunities for you so you could give, not to create opportunities that you will only receive. And we say that, but do we mean it? Tov liftoch Hashem, it's good to trust in Hashem than to trust in wealthy people. And we say, Lo nitzarech lidei matnat basar v'dam. No, we don't need the gifts of a human. Velo lidei v'atam. We don't need their favors. Ela miyatcha, but rather from your hand, the open hand who gives us, and so on and so forth. We want to get it from Hashem. Let me only get from Hashem. Not from you, not from me. I don't want. So we need to change this. And we need to be able to find this. The spot inside of us, each and every one of us. The spot inside of us, it's called the Kudat HaKohen. The priest inside of each and every one of us. We need to touch it, to find it, which is the nekudah of the neshama. This is the point of the soul. If you're able to touch this, the nekudah of kedusha, the point of holiness, the point that wants to give, that's the neshama. That's your neshama. The ability or the willingness to do good with people, to help people, to influence them. So therefore, when the Torah talks about the Kohen, it doesn't just talk about the Kohen physically, Kohanim physically. It also talks about something else. It talks about our movement, or the movement of influence inside the neshama, inside each and every one of us. That needs to be pure. That needs to be kept, guarded, and so on and so forth. And you could see it. Because when you are sad, what we know about Yaakov Avinu, when he was sad, Ruach HaKodesh went away from him. Because Ruach HaKodesh cannot stay in a place of tum'ah. Sadness brings you tum'ah. When you're depressed, you don't have the joy of life. When you have the joy of life, you stand away from Hashem. Why do you have to be depressed? What's wrong with you? Aren't you alive? Hashem still likes you. What's the problem? You understand? So, you should always be happy. Hashem is with you. You are here on this earth. Can you walk? Yes. Can you, still stand peeing? Yes, no problem. Life is good. It's very simple. So therefore we have to be besimcha. We have to work with joy. But the parasha warns us that we live in a world of teva, and therefore the ratzon lekabel. And therefore we have to elevate ourselves from just receivers, not only to givers, but also to be mashpia, to influencers, to people who influence. And therefore we have to remove ourselves as far as we can from the tum'ah of met, from death and the impurity that stems from it. And as much as like anything else in life, and we'll finish with this, and like anything else in life, there are different levels. Also in tum'ah, in impurity, there are levels. And the highest level is tumat met, right? The tum'ah that stems from a dead person is avi avot tum'ah. There's no greater tum'ah than that. And tum'ah, one of the words to receive tum'ah means atimut. Atum means sealed, concealed, sealed. So the makom tapeh, the impure place, is a place that the light of creation does not penetrate into it. It's closed in. It's in a lead vault that nothing can come in and nothing can come out. The light of creation, the light that HaKadosh Baruch Hu planted into us, that's what gives us the will to live all the time. Makom tameh, it doesn't penetrate into that. And it's a place that the need to receive condenses and restricts the light. It's almost like a black hole inside of you. And by the way, if you speak to people who are clinically depressed, they will explain to you that they feel like there's a black hole. Everything swallows them. And that's exactly it. It's like a black hole. Guys, the reason why there are black holes in the universe is for you to understand that. That's the only thing. Not to find a wormhole or the rabbit hole or Alice in Wonderland. That's just to understand how to work in life. What HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you. He sets you the examples everywhere. So the more lost we are, and you could see, the more lost we are spiritually, the more advanced we get technologically in order to give us the proper tools to understand, if you only would like to understand. So therefore, as it says, that's why in Masechet Barachot, it says, Harashaim, the wicked, Bechayehem, while they are alive, Kruim Mitim. While they are alive, they're considered to be dead. Why? Because Rasha, the word Rasha, Resh Shin Ayin, it's Ratzon Shel Atzmo. A wicked man only is a selfish person. All I care about is myself. Rasha, Ratzon Shel Atzmo. They're Rasha. So with the neshama, which is the koach of hashpah, of influence, that's what causes us to make tshuva and so on and so forth, removes the body, there's only the will to receive. And therefore that's the tumah. The tumah comes, and that's why it's the peak of tumah. Therefore when a kohen needs to watch out not to come in contact with the tumah, because it's going to reverse his ability and it causes us a tremendous problem altogether. So we have to find a way to reverse the needs to receive, to get freebies. When I go to a supermarket, even of course a kosher supermarket, but I go to a kosher supermarket. You can say, "Oh, would you like to sample this, sir?" I said, no, thank you. Why? It's good. It's free. I said to her, I'm sure it's free. But my father told me, if it's free, it's not good. Because everything has a price. And that's a test that I took myself. If it's free, I don't take it. I don't want to get used to looking for freebies. Because the people, when they have the stand over there, when they give you free samples, they go around, up, they come again, up, they come again. Oh, Moishi, that's very good. Can you taste it? The guy said, oh, sure. Can I bring it to my son? He's waiting for me in the car. The whole thing, put it like this and then, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to get used to it. I don't want to receive. I just want to give. And Baruch Hashem, we all have something to give. Each and every one of us is gifted with something unique that only He can give. And that's what we need to find inside of us. So that's why I think this is what the parasha comes to teach us. It comes to teach us how to keep ourselves clean all the time. And it's not only clean and pure all the time. It's not only to make us feel good, but also to give a lot of nachat ruach, to give a lot of a moment of pride to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our actions. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu would say, oh, you see, that's my son. These are my people. And that's why Jews throughout the years, throughout the generations, always contribute and gave to their surrounding. It's implanted in all of us. Our job is to find it. It's something that you are born with, and we are all born with it. Especially as Jews, we are born with a willingness to give. That's why we also have kids. If you're not ready to give from yourself, to put yourself on a different list, not on that list, you don't be a parent. Being a parent teaches you the ultimate sacrifice of giving. If you are not willing to do so, don't bring kids to the work because it's going to make them miserable. And it's inside of all of us. So therefore, it's not that I had it one time and now I lost it. It's there. You just put it on a shelf somewhere in the warehouse of your neshama. Your thing is to try to retrieve it, to find it again. Find this pure spot inside of you. Generate it. Start cranking it up so you would bring the will to give, and by doing so, the light of the Torah, the light of the Kedusha would shine upon of us, and we would really live the pasuk that says, "Va'yitem li legoy kadosh u'mamlechet kohanim." Yiratzon me'akadosh baruch hu sheyibaneh bet hamikdash b'mehera b'yamenu v'chol am Yisrael, and to also should be refuah shlema, speedy recovery to my father Gedalia Morov ben Matilda. Shabbat shalom.